GT Class 2 roller coaster rip. Hello there everybody and welcome to OpaFed Gaming. I am the OpaFed. Today we're driving a Ferrari 488 GTE in Grid Legends. We are in our semi-pro GT category of our pro season, and we are in our GT Class 2 Event 1 Round 2. We're driving through the streets of San Francisco on the Grand Prix circuit. We're doing 3 laps and we're driving at night, and we started at the back of the pack at number 22 of 22, which is where we still reside. Now this has got to be one of my favoriteest track, if that's the way you say it, in Grid Legends. I really enjoy this track because it rips through the streets, which I enjoy better than driving on a racetrack anyhow, if I had to pick. But not only that, it's got this really cool section in it where you go up and then you go across and you come back down. And the up and down are like a roller coaster hill. I mean, it is San Francisco after all. And it's fun to rip up the road and to rip back down. I mean, we had a roller coaster hill like this back in the town where I lived. But I only had a 64 Volkswagen that if you pushed it real hard, you could get it up to 80 kilometers an hour, but not in that short a section. Plus, our roller coaster hill ended in a T with an apple orchard at the end of the T, and more than one car ended up there, not picking apples. Anyhow, that's part of the fun part of this here track, and it really flows nice. The track is nice and wide, so it's harder to run into things. But with that comes the problem of the cars driving side by side and blocking you out, which just becomes another obstacle for you to get by. Oh, and then they crash out and like that in front of you. Which is the one thing I'd like to remind you of, is in Grid Legends, they do like to run into each other and run into you or run into the wall or spin out. So you got to be aware of that and be careful that you're not too close behind them and that they take you out at the same time. So other than that, this is a very, very high tempo, high octane race. It is go, go, go from beginning to end. There's not a lot of places to slow down. There's a couple where you have to touch the brakes just lightly. But as you're coming through this section here, as you saw, the track was straight enough, but a little narrower. Plus, at the speeds that we're driving, it's really difficult to try and pass anybody in sections like that. So we're starting our second lap, and we are still 11th out of 22. So we passed 10 cars as we just ripped by a couple more. Because if you take your attack in a race, and we had 21 cars to pass, 3 laps to do it in, that's 7 cars per lap. So if you kind of spread your attack out across the laps, I always try to do the best in the first lap, and then you can kind of, you know, do your own thing in the second, and hopefully you're leading in the third, or sometime during the third, and then you can rip her home. But that's my strategy. So I try to catch up to the guy in front of me and you know, get by him, get in front of him, and keep going until I get near the front of the pack. Now here we're coming again up to that roller coaster hill. This sure is an absolutely awesome track, and I just love. You even catch a little bit of air with this Ferrari here. Look at that! Whoa! As he flies through the air without a care. And there's a guy blowing his engine. Puts us ahead one more position again. Now we've only got 5 cars left in front of us. But like I said, this is a high tempo race. It's not easy to pass these guys because they really move. You know, I mean, look at them. They're pulling away from me, and I've got the pedal to the metal. But we usually catch up to them in the corners. That's where they're most vulnerable. But as you can see, now they block you in. And they block you in just long enough that the cars up in the front of the pack have a little bit of a better chance to get away. But never fear, this is the one corner right here that you do have to brake a little bit, because if you don't brake in that corner, you'll overshoot and you run into the building across the street. Here, all you can do basically is follow the guy in front of you. I wouldn't even attempt to pass him through this section here because it's just too fast and it's too hard to react to it. So we just wait until they come up to a corner up here where there's a little bit of time and space, but we're already into our third lap now. It's the last lap. We still got 3 cars to pass. So, you know, not a small order, but we better get on our high horse if we want to be able to win this race. But we're going to catch 1 nap in here, and now we've only got the 2. And the roller coaster rip is a really good place to pass. So if you don't want to get too excited and you don't need to be at the front right away, just stick with them. They're right there. You can see them. They're not taking off on you, and as long as they're not doing that, they're not a threat. Because whether they're 5 car lengths in front of you or behind you, those positions are exchanged real quick if you have a problem. So not to worry. We're going to wait till we get to the roller coaster part, which is coming up around a couple more corners around the next one. And then we can fly up and see if we can hit a little bit of air again with this Ferrari. Here we go. Now we got 2 to pass. If we can get ahead of them now, we've only got about half a lap left. So not a lot of time. And then after, now that we're ahead, we got to make sure we drive a nice clean race. And that means when you're coming to the corner like this, slow down long before you get to the corner. Don't try to speed and skid through the corner too fast, because you're going to slam into the opposite wall. It's going to slow you down, and it might slow you down enough for that guy that you just passed to zip by you and then to take the checkered flag away from you. We don't want to do that. So here we're going to rip until we get to that last bump. The one coming up right here where we slow down a little bit, so we can take that corner nice and smooth. Awesome, awesome race. I love this car on this track. It really drives nicely, and the graphics look fantastic. Until next time, you've been racing with the Opafed.